on in. Come on in. Invite somebody. Go share the broadcast. All right. Greetings, phenomenal ones. I'm glad that you decided to come on with me. We have all right. I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, if you are on with me on Saturday, it's not morning anymore. It's afternoon, actually, but it still feels like morning because when you've had a long week, it's morning. Not morning. Rising. All right. So listen, we got a great subject this morning. Or today. And if you do me a favor, click like, love the broadcast, subscribe, get in those notifications, get connected. I'm going to do as I do every Saturday and add some value to your Saturday. Today's topic is really interesting in that a lot of people who may not be oriented to liberation theology or liberation theologians or social justice work or social justice ministry, maybe you're coming out of another context, and a lot of times when people get shaken up, they hear agitation, they hear frustration, and everybody calm down, that kind of thing, whatever. Yeah, but here's the context in which I'm coming to today. Not angry, not upset, not mad. Just want to do a little teaching to introduce you to some concepts. Of course, if you do some reading of Dr. King, you'll see Dr. King focusing on the result of, or the intent or the work of the beloved community. World House, of course, the goal of the vision there is to create the beloved community or to manifest the beloved community. And today I want to just share in some prophetic thinking or some forward thinking a few ways for you to discover your beloved community. And I want to say your beloved community or my beloved community because I want you to take some ownership in that you belong. You belong. And you have to know that you belong. A lot of people get jaded and get grief makes you feel isolated, challenges makes you feel isolated, depression makes you feel isolated. The things that we're up against in our culture make us feel isolated. But there's something that's happening, which is we're realizing that we're more alike than we are different. We're more connected than we are apart. So I'm going to just share from my little mind, my little, contribution, some concepts on how to discover your beloved community. First, commit to knowing yourself better through core context and awareness of your reflection in others. What do I mean by core context? This year, this past year rather, in 2020, some critical things came to the front of my mind. My core context, being from Virginia, being a descendant of not just one great grandparent, but the mixture of all of my great grandparents and all that they went through in their context. My core context is identified through my family, through my descendants, through my familiarities, and through my response to all that I was introduced to as life in the first 7 to 21 years of life. I developed my core context, and so everything that I learned, how I learned it, where I picked it up, how I got it, all those things, I need to know that. Like, I was listening to Kevin Samuels. I should not be listening to Kevin Samuels, but I should be listening to Kevin Samuels. I was listening to Kevin Samuels, and somebody said to him that they had learned, or they felt like they had an attitude problem, and so he continued to ask questions as he always does. And when the young lady said she had an attitude problem, I began to realize as she was speaking, the things that she had gone through, or the things that she was revealing that she had gone through, were a part of her core context, or the things that made up her inner significance. I'm seeing a little lag here. Nevertheless, when she shares with Kevin Samuels where she comes from, he begins to identify that the things that she's doing or how she's responding to life basically go back or can be attributed back to her core context. So core context and a reflection of yourself in others. Once you realize who you are, once you realize what you have or what you've done, or what has not even what you've done, but who you've been and who you become through all that you've gone through, and you begin to identify those things, those areas, traits, and all those things, you begin to see your reflection in others. You will begin to see that you are not alone, or you're not the only one that had this particular challenge. You're not alone. I believe sometimes people suffer and they don't feel a part of the beloved community because they're not taught to see reflections. They're not taught to see reflections in God, even though they read a Bible that says you're made in God's image, fashioned in God's likeness. They're not even taught to see reflections divinely or theologically, and so they have no framework for reflections. And so the core context thing, knowing yourself, is really really in essence a part of what you need to do in order to begin to see reflections in someone else. And we really gonna have to work on this feed. We apologize for this connection situation. We're gonna fix that over the next few weeks here. I'm gonna deal with why there's a lag. Nevertheless, your core context and your reflection of in others is what you need to commit to. When I say make that commitment, it's a long-term commitment. It's not going to happen overnight. I want to find out about myself. I read about my granddaddy, so now I know myself. No, commit to the long-range process, and don't rush yourself, and don't put westernized time frames and concepts of time on your process. Just make the commitment to knowing better, knowing yourself better. I thought I knew, but I need to know more. Who am I really? Why do I respond like this? Really? Where did my trauma come from? Who motivated the person that caused my trauma or brought me into trauma? Who motivated that? What motivated that? What was their core context? do I do am I rehearsing or resurfacing things that I'm really trying to resolve? So I'm having the same argument with everybody that I meet because I never resolved the first argument that I had with the person that challenged my thinking, right? And people trying to figure out where I'm coming from. Okay, so core context. Let's get that identified. Awareness of your reflection in others. Two, with value. You're gonna hear this phrase, with value. You're gonna hear this phrase, with value. With value. Identify those who are in the circumference of your path, right? Not just the people you are mentoring, but who your mentors are and who your peers are in the entire circumference of your path. Who the distant strangers are, who the people you're not aware of, who is in your purview, who is in your space that you don't quite know. Why are they in your space? Who could God have hanging around you that could bless you, but you don't know them because you're not familiar with their context, because you don't know that part about yourself. See, identify with value. With value. Look with the lens of value. Look with the lens of value. With value, identify those. Let me take this off screen. It's just taking up space. Identify those who are in the circumference of your path. Next, with value, identify those who reflect your study and pursuit of awareness. In Hebraic culture, they make a commitment to never study the Torah alone, which means that I'm never going into the study of God or never going into the study of the divine alone. I'm going into the study in community. And so with value, you gotta learn how to get into study with people, right? And what do I mean by study? I mean the study of who you are, study of who God is, all that kind of stuff, pursuit of awareness, in your pursuit of awareness. And not saying that who you are as an individual is not legitimate or important or critical to the contribution of the conversation. But the truth is that if you're having brilliant prophetic moments alone, what more brilliance could you be if you had it in community with somebody else? And if you get rid of the me, I, self, value, and you begin to get into the us, we, community value, you'll begin to see that there are people around you that are moving in the same direction. Next, with value, identify people that reflect your concept of revolution and your conflict with oppression. I am against certain kinds of oppression. I'm against certain kinds. I'm against oppression in general, but I have had experience with certain kinds of oppression. I've had experience with certain contexts. And so my connector to the beloved community in the fight against oppression in general is my context, or what is, like, that's how you're able to mentor people who are being tormented. That's how you're able to help people out of situations that they have been stuck in. That's where problem solutions meet, because I have a conflict with this oppression, which makes me a resource of solutions as I find and work and walk and voice my way through this context or through this situation. But my concept of revolution, what does the world look like after we've enacted this philosophy that I'm teaching, preaching, believing, engaging? Ask yourself this. Folk who talk about takeover, I'm not even going to get into that. Folk who talk about the context of the world from a white Eurocentric dominant perspective. Theologically, is that scripturally sound? Is that God's intent for us? For somebody to be beneath us and us to be above them? I'm just asking a question. What is the end result of your concept of revolution? Who's better? Who's worse? Who's worse after your revolution occurs? 5, I'm done. Magnetize, engage, add value by strengthening confidence in your circumference. Demystify dissonance. Magnetize. What do I mean by magnetize? Be attractive to your community. Walk the walk of your community. Talk the talk to your community. Dress the dress. Don't hold it to yourself. Don't keep it to yourself, as the elders would say. If it's good, said I wasn't going to tell nobody, but I couldn't keep it to myself. Engage what the Lord has done for me. You know, you engage and you add value. You engage literally to add value. That's your intent in engaging, not to get value, but to add value. Now you're going to get value because you're in the community of being loved or be loved or being loved, right? So you're going to get value, but you need to engage with the concept of adding value. And this is how you add value. You strengthen confidence. What is confidence? The ability to confide, dropping gems, confiding in, saying the things that you can contribute to the conversation, saying the things that you can contribute to the conversation in a way that helps and strengthens someone else. Demystify, debunk dissonance. People try to put so much difference between them and other people. They try to teach concepts of exclusiveness, and a lot of times it's just a bunch of mythology. It's a lot of unnecessary mysticism, and then we're fighting in our minds because I'm sitting behind you. I know I'm like you in some ways, but because of this teaching, I think I'm so different from you and I can't connect with you. That's crazy. So demystify, debunk dissonance in all of its unhealthy and toxic forms. Some dissonance is good in music. And don't be afraid to engage healthy dissonance, or if somebody disagrees with you or they're on the other side of a thought. Don't be afraid to engage a healthy dose of contrast so that you can connect in a place of value, in a space of value. All right. So these are just a few thoughts of mine on ways to discover your beloved community. I'm Jeremiah Hackley. I hope I've been a blessing to you in these few minutes. Saturday Secrets. I want you to again commit to knowing yourself better through your core context, your awareness of your reflection in others. With value, identify those who are in the circumference of your path, not just who's under me. And should nobody, not just who's in that context, but who's a mentee or who's a parishioner or whatever. We focus so much on one part of our life and miss the entire community around us or circumference around us, which could contribute to that. Anyway, so do that. Next, with value, identify those who are in the circumference of your path. Did I say that one already? With value, identify those who reflect your study and your pursuit of awareness. Study, pursuit of awareness. With value, identify people who reflect your concept of revolution and your conflict with oppression. 8, magnetize, engage, add value by strengthening confidence in your circumference. Demystify, debunk dissonance. All right, y'all. For everybody, like, that's high level talk. That's the educated stuff. Listen, I believe people are smarter than we give them credit for. You don't have to be a dummy around me. I believe I believe you're strong and you're smart and you're amazing. You is smart. You is kind. Y'all remember the movie. Y'all don't remember that movie. I hope you've had fun this morning. I love you. You're too phenomenal to stay nominal. I had to just give you this. Of course, meet us for Theology Thursdays. This Thursday coming. Meet us next month for Turner Theological Seminary. Meet us for Master Class. Whenever you see this Liberation Report, meet us. Meet us for Financial Phenom as we come together. And of course, we're just grateful and glad that you came to be with us today. So, again, if you missed it, catch the replay. You're too phenomenal to stay nominal. I love you. I love you. I love you. Love you. Oh. Don't start this morning, y'all. Come on. It's too early for this. It's still morning for me. I know. 1:14. I've been up since. Maybe folks are waking up. Maybe that's what's happening. Oh, that's Edith's song right there. That's Zoe's song. Let me hit that drive. We gotta go. Give them little drums. Gotta go. Y'all have a phenomenal day.